Hi, welcome. My name is Maisha Williamson, and I'm founder of STEM Girl Social Network. A lot of people have been emailing me lately about my blog post called How I Raised My ACT Score by 12 Points. So since a lot of people were curious about that, ACT, SAT prep is coming around, I wanted to share my story. I have notes, so forgive me if I look to the side. So basically, my name is Maisha Williamson. I'm founder of STEM Girl Social Network. I've tutored math, science, and ACT prep for over 10 years now. I started when I was 18, right when I started college. So I went to University of Michigan and studied mechanical engineering. I finished there, and I worked in industry on a few projects, process improvement, in the auto industry. And then I went into education. So I've taught, I've helped CPS schools set up after school programs, engineering programs, and recently started my own company focused on ACT prep, math prep, computer programming, CAD, especially with a focus to get more girls into science and technology fields. So I really just want to dig in and get to the nitty-gritty of how I boosted my score and the plan I give my students to boost their score. So first of all, and just so you know, the information I'm giving you right now, this is equivalent of an hour session, and my sessions are $65 an hour. So I'm giving you this information for free, and it is very useful. Even after 1 or 2 sessions, my students are able to raise their scores. So you need to know your baseline score and analyze your subscores. Find a Kaplan Center or a library that is offering free full ACT session. So these centers or libraries will offer free practice exams. They're usually on a Saturday, they're about 4 hours long, and they simulate the real test conditions without you having to pay the ACT fee. Analyze the scores. So there's 4 major scores. There's math, now there's writing, but there's math, science, reading, and English. So there's also sub-scores under those scores. You need to also analyze the sub-score. For example, you have pre-algebra, algebra, geometry in the math, and in English you have usage and rhetoric skills. Looking at depth in the score report will help you create a plan of attack for the ACT or your SAT. Next, how do you create your plan of attack based on this report? So you need to figure out which areas you were most efficient and what areas were your best. You need to really focus on your areas that you were challenged in the most. On the ACT, your largest focus will either be the English or math portions. Do not spend more than 1 day a week on reading or science. You will attack these differently than you will attack math or English sections. So how will you attack English for the ACT or SAT? I received a 34 on the English portion of the ACT. A perfect is a 36, and that rolls from like a 21 or 23. Having a great vocabulary is more important on the SAT than the ACT, but improving your vocabulary will help for both exams. Get a vocabulary book from the library or on Amazon. One that has the test at the end. So I took this, I think it's Webster's vocabulary book, and it would teach you about 21 words in a week, and then you would take these exams at the end. 21 words is a lot, so I broke it down to 14 words, like 2 words a day. And you don't need to memorize more than 2 words a day or 14 a week, because else you'll get overwhelmed and you won't retain the information. So really break it down to 14 words a day. And honestly, if you could start boosting your vocabulary in 8th grade outside of what you're learning in school, it would be really helpful. So when the time you get to your junior year or your sophomore year, you won't have to build your vocabulary anymore, and you can focus on the exam. If you are starting and it's your sophomore year or your junior year when you need to be taking the exam, just look up the 100 most used ACT or SAT words and learn 50 of those. Okay. Also, after you learn the vocabulary, you need to put the words in an app on your phone called Quizlet. So what I did, I would study. We didn't have Quizlet. We didn't have apps back then. We didn't have iPhones, but I would create note cards, like really small note cards. Now they have a note card app, but I would take about 10 a day, take them to school. I would study on the bus. I would study as I'm walking. I would study during lunch. I would study in class. If I was falling asleep, I would study on the way to class. So little 3-minute spurts of studying really help improve your vocabulary. So you don't have to take long amounts of dedicated time towards learning the vocabulary, but you can learn it just throughout the day when you have downtime. If you're standing in line for something, you could be studying. Master 8th grade grammar. That's really, really important for the English ACT or the SAT. Google the best 8th grade grammar books, review these, and then do the whole workbook. After you do this, then get a book from the library that reviews how to take the English ACT. So my favorite book is the Real ACT Prep Guide. If you can, buy that book. If you can't, go to the library and check out as many as the ACT Prep books you can check out, take all the exams in them, and read on how to do or how to attack the exams. I don't have a favorite 8th grade grammar book, but if you go to the library, you can browse through the books, see which ones have reviews and problems throughout, and where you can check your problems. So how to attack the math portion of the test. Wherever your weak spots in the math, that's where you need to focus. For most people that I deal with, the weak spots are algebra and pre-algebra. The website I used when I was in high school was coolmath.com. I went through each pre-algebra and algebra section, and then I took the reviews. There are also great sites now like Khan's Academy. I love this site, but sometimes it's hard for kids to keep their attention to the sites. So I would try to find videos that are entertaining if you can. Check out the video Math Tutor on YouTube. Danica McKellar, I think that's how you say her name, but she played Winnie on the Wonder Years, and she has math books aimed at teen girls. If you are low on cash, the library is your best friend. Check out these books at the library. After you complete this, you need to review the real ACT or SAT prep guides to see how they attack each test. Now, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to build your skills and then learn how to take the ACT or SAT. So first, with math and English, you are reviewing pre-algebra, algebra, geometry from algebra, pre-geometry, geometry books, not even ACT books. English, you're reviewing this in English books. And then once you have mastered that, then you'll move to the ACT or SAT books to learn how to master the exam. Because the thing is, usually you didn't retain everything from grade to grade. You might be doing great your sophomore or junior year, but you don't remember most of what you did in 8th grade, and you need to review it. So how to schedule your ACT prep training. This is what I did. I did it in 4 or 5 months. So I did a pretty intensive schedule. You can do this over 8 months, over a year, and you can spread the days out so you don't have to be studying every day. But here's what my week looked like. Monday, I did math review problems. So I probably did a math 2 hours a night. I did math review, read up in the books, and then I did problems. Doing problems is most important. Reading about math or reading about English is not going to help you as much as doing problems and checking the answers and explanations. Tuesday, I did English grammar and problems. Wednesday, I did a sample math test from an ACT prep book, and I graded it and looked through the explanations. Sometimes you can look through the ones you got right and the ones you got wrong, but the ones you got wrong are the most important. So the sample English test, I would do the same thing. Grade it and look through the explanations. Saturday, Friday I would have off. Saturday, I would take the whole ACT, sit down for 4 hours. Sunday, I would grade and review the answers and explanations. This is so important. This might take 4 to 5 hours. But most of my kids, they'll take the test and check the answers, but not look at the explanations. If you don't look at the explanations, you don't know why you got wrong what you got wrong. So reading test tips. You can spend time on this, but there's not a lot of outside preparation of the reading strategies besides taking the test and grading it. Really, at this point, you should have developed reading comprehension throughout your life. Trying to catch up in 6 months on learning to comprehend is a little hard. But the strategy I will give you is read the questions first, then read the passage. Most people read the passage first, then start to answer the questions. You're wasting time because you're going to go back and forth. Saturday, take the reading test as a part of the whole test and pay attention to the explanations. And use the same strategy for science. Again, trying to learn reasoning your junior year, you should have developed reasoning at a younger age, but there are strategies that you can use. How far in advance should you study for the ACT, SAT? You might have figured out by what I'm saying, but your preparation really begins at birth, early on. Historically, children who are exposed to books, museums, and activities are more likely to do better on these exams. Working on increasing vocabulary by 5 words every week, starting at 3 or 4. Do household science projects to increase reasoning skills early at 6 or 7. Supervise students' math homework to make sure they are not skipping steps and they're writing down each step. Make sure your child takes algebra in the 8th grade at the latest. Now, what if you're a high school student and you did not do all that? Start prepping in the sophomore year at the latest. Follow the steps I listed above. Be very regimented, which means schedule out how you're going to study, and be very systematic about your plan of attack. Extracurricular activities may have to be cut down to make room for academics and test prep. Now, I did not take the full rides, but remember, I received full rides plus stipends to about 4 different universities. I took just full tuition, and so I had to pay room and board at my university. But doing well on these exams equals money, because my friends who didn't do as well, and they may have had grades the same as mine or better at mine, did not get the financial packages I got. So think that learning this now can save you $100,000 if you do well. So really focus on doing well on these exams and doing well overall in school. You don't have to be involved in 10 million activities. You're going to be involved in 2 and really focus on these exams. Now, remember that I am also an ACT, math, and science tutor, so I can help individually or in groups. My rates are $65 an hour. For the month of January, any new clients, I'm charging $45 an hour. And we can do in person in the Chicagoland area, or we can do online virtual tutoring. So if you have any questions, please leave them at the bottom of the video. And I'll be doing more videos. I'll break things down more and I'll share more information, because it's really a passion of mine to get students into college and have more money for college. So I'll speak with you soon. Bye.